It's called at Cornerstone Youth 776. Make sure it's at the at symbol.
At
This one.
AT?
This one. You see this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
Wait, let the shift. Shift the plus two.
I know. And then Cornerstone Youth 777.
Please work.
Excellent.
The stream isn't working.
But you check if you teach yourself this.
The stream isn't working.
We have time. Like, again, where were you last week though? Yeah, actually.
Put a basketball game.
Why did you say body? You don't have to say the inches left.
I've been a 1% not you.
Oh. I'm sorry.
Why is it blue? Our screen is blue.
I was trying to say bye to Asia, but Asia was like, thinking of it.
Our screen is not blue.
Go.
Yo.
Daniel, speak.
Hello, test number 6. Hello?
We're just gonna go. What we got?
Wrong.
Okay.
It's working. Wait, I just hear a lot of background noise.
It's blue.
Wait,
Okay,
Daniel,
guys.
speak.
Have a seat.
Yo,
Let's
what's
go.
up?
Albert, have a seat.
Jaden, go back. Oh, freaking.
Daniel, speak.
Hello?
Okay, yeah, we're good. We might be good. We have what we have.
Go with what we have. Okay, Jay, have a seat. Now, please put that down. Wait, hold on. Hold on a second. Okay, I hate to say this, all right? You need to respect the room, okay? We are visitors here, and I've already given this speech once, and I feel really ridiculous having to do this again, because you guys are old enough to know better, all right? So if I have to start treating you like kids, I will, but I don't want to do that, all right? All right, so,
I think the sound's working.
Okay.
Where's the other mic? Oh,
The other mic's right there. Let's lay your hearts for worship, guys. Alright, so I'll be praying now. Lord, thank you for really gathering us all here to really focus on you and really prepare our hearts to receive your word, Lord, and thank you for having us come here before you, Lord, and thank you for getting us all have a safe trip to church as well, and just stay great again. Oh wait, can I do it different? No, everyone's a good. Yep, that's it. Oh wait, guys. Yeah, yo guys, up. Something that's a word that will bless you.
Mother's Day celebration that we had today, that we would remember our mom and be able to live in love. All right, we got a couple of announcements. So first of all, because we are actually serving lunch today, there is no small group. So after we're going to kind of keep the sort of service, there is kitchen. People they want to get this done already there. So all those dumplings you made yesterday, now you got to cook them and serve them. Okay. So head there after that. All right. Just a reminder, if you could stay here, there is a graduation potluck. So some of you actually participate in this food unit. Okay. And hopefully everybody else agrees. And so that's that day. You can put that in the calendar. Okay. Just a reminder again, baptism is coming up. So if you want to be baptized and you haven't, then I need to know it today because it's not enough time. Otherwise, it's VBS is coming up, and Pastor David, of course, is looking for sign-ups. I'm going to pass on the sign-up sheet if you have. I know at least one person looking for already signed up. I think they were signed up, yeah. And so just do that, and if you, have any questions, to Pastor David. All right. Reminder, so this is the last day for early bird sign-ups for the retreat. After that, the price goes up, and your chance of getting in goes down. So please, if you're interested, do it today. All right. So before we go head over to the kitchen, I'm just going to do a real quick kind of thing today. And we're going to look at Acts 20, 17 to 25. And so I'm going to have to some of these Bibles. And so one thing that I've actually noticed a lot about middle school and high school students over my many years doing this is that you guys are like walking hypocrisy detectors. Okay, what I mean by that is you're really good at picking out when your parents or other adults aren't walking the talk. I see somebody smiling. And actually, that's not a bad thing. It's actually not a bad thing if you can pick that out. Right? But how good are you at picking out hypocrisy in yourself? You guys know what hypocrisy is, right? Where you say one thing and do another thing. Okay, so a number of years ago, I was actually talking to a college student about some ballot measures that was up for the vote. And the idea was that they were trying to get people to take additional tax dollars and stick them to funding homeless shelters. Right? And he was going on about how messed up our society is, and we should be spending more money on this, and doing that instead of weapons. And he would gladly pay more taxes if we were funding these homeless shelters, except for one little issue. I think that worked. It wasn't working. He isn't paying any taxes. All right? So I asked him, how much money do you donate for some kind of homeless cause? It's obviously important. Or if you don't have the money, I get that, you're a college student, right? College students have the money. How much time are you spending working with the homeless? Or if you don't have any time, how many homeless people do you just even know? Dead silence. You see, this societal iniquity, this inequality that caused homelessness is just actually a cause to this person. So they can feel kind of righteous indignation about how bad things were in the world. Now, I'm not saying that he was actually wrong, because actually a lot of the views he had, I actually agree with. Right? But because he had actually no skin in the game, at all. He wasn't spending any of his own money, wasn't spending any of his own time. He didn't even know any homeless people. All right? His opinion that my tax dollars should be going to this initiative kind of had not a lot of credibility. Kind of hypocritical, right? Telling me to do something that he's not willing to do. So I told him to let me know the next time he made a donation or actually would spend some time with the homeless, and then we could talk. Right? So that's not who we're supposed to be as Christians. Okay? Rather, the example we're supposed to follow is the one set by the Apostle Paul in today's passage. We're supposed to walk our talk. Right? So we'll take a look at our passage today, and we're going to respond to it again. All right, so Acts 20, 17 to 25. Now from the latest, he sent to Ephesus and called the elders of the church to come to him.
And then he said,
Oh, you should
all humility and with tears and with trials that happen to you through the thoughts of the Jews.
Now I do not shrink from declaring to you anything that is profitable, but teaching you how to act.
Testifying both to Jews and to Greeks of repentance toward God and faith in our Lord Jesus Christ.
And now, behold, I am going to Jerusalem, constrained by the Spirit, not knowing what will happen to me there.
Except that the Holy Spirit testifies to me in every city that imprisonment and affliction await me.
I do not count my life of any value, nor as precious to myself, if only I may finish my course in the ministry that I received from the Lord Jesus to testify to the gospel of the grace of God.
And now behold, I know that none of you among whom I have gone about proclaiming the kingdom will see my face again. Amen. Okay. So, what's going on here? So last week we talked about the church in Ephesus. The church was kind of the spiritual front line. And this is the church there when all those people were confronted with the kind of frightening reality that demonic activity is real. They all kind of freaked out and they repented by burning 50,000 silver pieces worth of scrolls in repentance. Okay, so that's what we saw last week. And since then, Paul has been traveling around Macedonia and Asia Minor, and as he travels, the Holy Spirit has been leading him to go to Jerusalem. So the Holy Spirit's saying, "Look, Paul, you have to go to Jerusalem." And Paul decides to obey, but then everywhere he goes, he keeps being approached by believers that have prophetic gifts who are begging him not to go, because all they can see is imprisonment and affliction for him if he goes. Alright? And that's what we read in verse 22. Alright, so in the first verse of our passage here, we see that Paul reaches this coastal city called Miletus, which is about 30 miles away from Ephesus. And he calls the elders down from Ephesus to come meet up with him so that he can kind of give them final instructions before he takes off to Jerusalem. And the reason he's doing that is because he doesn't ever expect to see them. Verse 25, we read it. What is it? You're never going to see me again. Okay, it wasn't quite as easy to hop on an airplane back then and just sort of see people. Like, he's going to go off on a voyage and they're probably never going to talk. All right, but before he gives his final talk, he has to establish his right to do so by kind of relaying the last 2 years of his ministry with the Ephesians. And so he tells them about his sufferings and how he never failed to declare God's truth to them and how he practiced door-to-door evangelism with them. He basically tells them to look at how he walked with them as the model for the life that he's going to call them to live when he goes away. Right? He's calling his church elders to behave in a particular way and make sure that his church runs in a certain way. And so he's basically telling them, I'm not asking you to do anything I didn't do myself. You saw me do myself. All right, so he's kind of walk his talk. And then in verse 24, Paul makes 2 claims. Right? And they're kind of extraordinary claims. I challenge you to make the same thing. So number one is he doesn't fear death. All right, and the second thing is that the only thing he's concerned about is making sure he fully finishes the calling that was given to him by Jesus. That's the only thing he cares about. All right. Now, it's one thing for somebody to claim these things, that you don't fear death and you just want to finish the race, but it's another thing to prove it. And Paul's proof is that just before he makes these 2 claims, he tells them he's going to Jerusalem because he's obeying the Holy Spirit. And he doesn't know exactly what's going to happen to him, but he only knows that the Holy Spirit keeps telling him to other believers that he's going to go to jail. He's going to be in prison. All right? So now let me ask you guys this question. All of us, what if God told you to go somewhere, but when you get there, you're going to get thrown into jail and be tortured? Would you go? Yeah, I'm kind of with him. I think I'd have a hard time doing that, even if it's God telling you to go there, knowing that you're going to get thrown into jail and tortured. And maybe that's one reason when God asks us to do things sometimes, he doesn't always tell us the future. You guys remember that story about Joseph that we did last year? So Joseph is going to become prime minister of Egypt. Exalted position. Yeah, I want that kind of faith. But if he had told Joseph in advance, okay, I'm going to make you prime minister of Egypt, but that's going to be 10 plus years in prison and slavery, you still want it? I don't know if Joseph would have done it, because Joseph was called to this, he was put into slavery and he was just a fugitive. So Paul, in this case, he's knowingly walking into imprisonment, and that's how he's basically saying, look, I'm walking my talk. All right, so what happens is our true beliefs, the things that we really believe, the things that we really value, are reflected in how we act, and where we spend our time, and where we spend our money. And they're reflected in what we're willing to do and how far we're willing to go to do it. So James 2:18. Where it says, show me your faith apart from your works, and I will show you my faith by my works. In other words, he's saying, don't listen to what I'm saying, watch what I'm doing. Okay, so those of you who are these disciples of Jesus Christ, those of you who have actually been baptized, okay, he's called on us to make disciples of all nations. That's a call you have. Okay? And we're supposed to seek God with all our heart, our mind, and our strength. Okay? That's what we signed up to when you got baptized. But I also know that for most of you in this room that got baptized, your faith is actually not the most important thing in your life. Okay? And God's not the most important person in your life. How can I say that? What am I basing that on? I don't know your heart. I can't see into it. But what can I see? I can see the reaction. I can see how you behave. All right? And so I can also tell that something else in the world is the most important thing in your life right now. And your walk tells you this. And so, for example, how many of you would actually give up video game time to read the Bible instead? How many of you would do that? How many of you would give up time at lunch or after school to support your Christian club in your school? You, not too many. No? How many of you would take a gap year to do a mission trip to uncover your calling before applying to college? That one's still in front of you. For most of you, if I could observe how you're spending your time, what I would say is the thing you value the most in life is getting a high-paying job that makes your family proud. That's probably the most important thing, just based on the way I'm seeing some time. Your faith, in other words, is not in God, your faith is in power. Okay? Now, I am not anti-power. Right? College in itself can actually be a really good way to discover God's calling in your life. But most of you aren't thinking that way. Okay? You're just following the Asian program. And that's how I was when I was your age. I was just following the Asian program. Right? I also didn't know Jesus back then, but nonetheless, I was following the program. And that's what you're doing. And so, again, nothing wrong with college. But have you given any thought at all about your reason? Not your parents' reason, not the world's reason, not the program's reason. Why you would want to go to college? What is your reason for wanting to go? Okay? Have you thought about what the purpose of your life is? Why are you here on earth? Okay? I would charge all of you to spend some time praying about these questions because they're going to affect your future. Okay? Mark 8:36-37. Let me see this verse as well. So what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and forfeit his soul? For what can a man give in return for his soul? All right, so you can be a complete worldly success, and when you die, it's all for naught. So you have to think about that because it doesn't have to be the way it is. Right? So again, I'm not saying don't go to college. I'm not saying don't prepare to go to college. I'm saying just understand why you are going to college, not why somebody else thinks you should be going. And if you are a disciple of Jesus Christ, are you really walking the talk? Or are you like that college student I mentioned earlier, where you don't have any standing? You just talk every day. All right, so let me close this in prayer. Heavenly Father, I lift this up that we would not be those hypocrites that we are so disdainful of as we see them, that we're not those people as well. Help us walk our talk. Help us show us who we really are. And we can start today on Mother's Day. Let's honor our mothers. Let us dedicate our service to them. lunch, showing them how much we did. And you can, you know.
Nice to meet you.
we thank you again for bringing us all together. And Lord, as we go out today, on this beautiful Mother's Day, we ask that you would just help us show our moms how much we love us by the Holy Spirit. And that we would always walk with us. Oh, perfect behind it. She's under to you.
Okay.
Oh, fix it. All right, we should have just waited.